Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah, wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man walah wa ba'd. So we continue with our study of his book, Kitaab At-Tawheed, which you've heard, by Shaykh al-Islam Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahaab, alayhi rahmatullah. And we are reading from and benefiting from the commentary and explanation of a Shaykh al-Allama al-Walid, Shaykh Ubaid bin AbdiLlah Al Jabirī, rahmatullah alayhi, rahmatan wasiya, who has since our last lesson passed away by the decree of Allah Ta'ala. We ask Allah Ta'ala to enter him into the highest levels of Jannah, Firdaus. We pick up today from the narration, and that is the narration of Ubaid ibn as-Samit, radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Now, mind you, we are still within the chapter dealing with the fadl of At-Tawhīd and what it expiates of sins, the virtue of At-Tawhīd and what it removes, expiates of sins. And we have reached the hadith of Ubaid ibn as-Samit, radiallahu ta'ala anhu, and he said, قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم من شهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأن محمدا عبده ورسوله وأن عيسى عبد الله ورسوله وكلمته ألقاها إلى مريم وروح منه والجنة حق والنار حق أدخله الله الجنة والجنة على ما كان من العمل أخرجاه. This narration, it is translated to mean on the authority of Ubaid ibn as-Samit, who said that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam stated, "Whoever testifies that none has the right to be worshipped in truth except Allah alone, having no partners, and that Muhammad is his servant and messenger, and that Isa is the servant of Allah and his messenger, and his word which he has given to Maryam, and a soul that was created by him, and that paradise is the truth, and that the hellfire is the truth. Allah will enter him into paradise no matter what he has with him from actions." This hadith is reported by Bukhari and Muslim. Shaykh mentioned in explanation of his hadith, هذا الحديث بوب عليه النووي هو وما في معناه من الأحاديث. So this narration, Imam al-Nawawi rahmatullah alayh, he has formulated a chapter in his collection, or within his explanation of Sahih Muslim. He intends here. He says, likewise, this and other narrations that are similar to it. نعم وبعضها في صحيح Muslim. Some of them are in Sahih Muslim. وبعضها في صحيحين. Others of them are in the two Sahihs. And شرحها في صحيح Muslim. So in Nawawi, within his explanation of Sahih Muslim, he has a special section in his categorization of the narrations of Sahih Muslim, dedicated to this chapter, or to this narration rather, and other narrations that are similar. And he entitled it Bab Ad-Dalil ala anna man mata ala tawhidi dakhal al-jannah qat'an. And Nawawi, this section in Sahih Muslim was explanation of Sahih Muslim, wherein he dedicates it to this particular narrations and other narrations of similar import. He has entitled that section, chapter, the evidence that whoever dies upon Tawheed will enter paradise without this is something which is conclusive or conclusively. Now, والحديث متضمن شرطا وجوابا. He says in this narration it contains a shart, a conditional clause, and a jawab shart, as it's called in the Arabic language. You have a conditional phrase and then the jawab, the response or the result of that condition being fulfilled. For example, in the Arabic language we say إذا زرتني وأزرك. For example, if you visit me, then I'm going to visit you. If you visit me, I'm going to visit you. So when I say إذا زرتني, if you visit me, this is the condition. It's the condition. Now, if you visit me, and then the jawab of that condition is فأزرك, then I'm going to visit you. Then I'm going to visit you. That's the jawab of the condition, meaning if the condition is fulfilled, then the result of the condition being fulfilled is the jawab. Now I'm going to visit you. As an indication that if you don't visit me, then I'm not going to visit you. So we have similar inside of this hadith. We have similar inside of this hadith. And that is in the phrase, Man shahida in la ilaha illallah, or whoever testifies to everything that he testifies to in this narration, all of that is the condition. Whoever does this, then the jawab of that condition is adkhalahu Allah al-jannata ala ma kana min al-amal. That Allah Ta'ala will enter this person into paradise no matter what they have of actions. Now, he says it's so. The hadith, it has this inside of it. أما الجواب والجزاء هو الحكم بالجنة على ما كان من العمل. As for the jawab, one second. As for the jawab or the jaza, it is the ruling that whoever does this will enter into paradise no matter what they have of actions. Yani min salah or fasad, meaning if this person has righteousness with them, or they have sins and iniquities and corruption with them, but they enter into the paradise, or they testify to the statement or the testification that it is a truthful testimony fulfilling all of the conditions of the testimony, then this person will enter into paradise no matter what they have with them of righteousness or sins. The end result is paradise. He says that now والشرط يتضمن الطريق الذي يدخل به الجنة. He says, and so the conditional phrase itself, it contains or comprises that with which the person will enter into paradise. And likewise, which will guarantee for that person safety from the fire or from dwelling in the fire forever. وهذا طريق يتضمن ما يأتي. And this pathway by way of which one can attain all of this, and it is comprised of the following. Firstly, الشهادة لله بالوحدانية, a person testifying for the oneness of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. نعم. وشهادة لمحمد وعيسى عليهما الصلاة والسلام بالرسالة, as well as the testimony that Isa and Muhammad عليهما الصلاة والسلام both have risal. They are both messengers of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. فتحقيق شهادة لا إله إلا الله فيه تجريد إخلاص العمل لله وحده. So in actualizing the testimony that none has the right to be worshipped in truth except Allah, in this lies sincerity of one's actions for Allah Ta'ala alone. وتحقيق شهادة أن محمد رسول الله يحقق لمسلم تجريد المتابعة للنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. Whereas the actualization of the testimony that Muhammad is the Messenger of Allah, by way of that, the Muslim is able to actualize sincerity in following and purity in following the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. And we say purity from what? Purity from what we're going to hear about later in the narration or later in the explanation from al-ifrat wa tafrid in this regard, from negligence or going too far in this regard. Likewise, tajreed, freeing oneself of innovation and the likes of this. Now, Thaniyan, the second thing that this conditional clause contains inside of it, shahada li Isa sallallahu alaihi wasallam bi khasa'is ghayr al-nubuwwa wal risala, is the testimony for Isa of other things. That Isa has other qualities than merely prophethood and messengership. He has other qualities that are contained inside of this narration, and they are the fact that Isa is the kalima of Allah that he has given to Maryam, and what is intended by the kalima of Allah Ta'ala, kalimatuhu kun, his statement be, and he was. So Isa was created by way of that. He was created by way of the statement of Allah Ta'ala. Therefore, he is known as the kalima of Allah, the word of Allah Ta'ala, kun, fayakun, which he has given to Maryam, ruhun minhu, and then Isa is the soul that was created by Allah Ta'ala فهو مخلوق بكلمة كن. For Isa was created by way of the statement be. ومولود من أثناء فقط من غير رجل. أو من أنثى فقط من غير رجل. And that he was created from a woman only, without a man. وهذه قدرة الله عز وجل وآية من آياته. And this is something which is indicative of the power and ability of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, and an ayah min ayatihi. Is an ayah min ayatihi. Why is this considered to be an ayah? The ulama, they mentioned the difference between the signs of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala and the creations of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. Even though the ayat of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, specifically the ayat of Allah that are kawniyah, they are also makhluqat Allah Ta'ala. They are also created things by Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. Allah Ta'ala says, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ اللَّيْلَ وَالنَّهَارُ وَالشَّمْسُ وَالْقَمَرُ لَا تَسْجُدُوا لِلشَّمْسِ وَلَا لِلْقَمَرِ وَاسْجُدُوا لِلَّهِ الَّذِي خَلَقَهُنَّ إِن كُنتُمْ إِيَّاهُ تَعْبُدُونَ. And from his signs are the night, the day, the sun, and the moon. Don't prostrate to the sun or the moon, but prostrate to him alone if it is indeed he who we worship. But we know at the same time that the sun and the moon, the night and the day, they are also makhluqat. So why did Allah Ta'ala refer to them as ayat? Isa as well, alayhi salam, he's a created being. So why did Allah Ta'ala refer to him like this? And he's an ayat min ayat Allah. Naam, and his creation is an ayah from the ayat of Allah wa Ta'ala. This is because the difference between the creations of Allah and the signs of Allah wa Ta'ala within the creation is that those things that are creations of Allah wa Ta'ala and not also considered to be ayat, you see them in every single time. You come outside, for example, you can see the ground that you're standing on. At any given time, you can see the sky. At any given time, you can see trees. At any given time, you can see these created things. You can see other humans and so on and so forth. But the ayat of Allah wa Ta'ala, things which you see at certain times and other times you don't see them. You see them at certain times and other times you don't see them. And by way of you seeing them at certain times and other times you don't see them, you're able to know by way of that these things, they have a Lord that is managing them and controlling them, manifesting them at certain times and concealing them at other times. These are the ayat of Allah wa Ta'ala. Things that you see at certain times when Allah Ta'ala manifests these things to you, and at other times you don't see them. Now, so we look at the affair of Isa ibn Maryam, and it's something such as birth, childbirth, generally speaking. It's something which is, it is from the makhluqat of Allah wa Ta'ala, those things that Allah Ta'ala has created. We are all from the creation of Allah wa Ta'ala. Now, but the manner in which Isa ibn Maryam was born, it's not something which happens all the time. Rather, it is from the ayat of Allah wa Ta'ala. Now, and so this is why he refers to it as an ayah min ayatihi. وهنا سر لطيف, and here lies a subtle secret, a subtlety rather, if you will. وهو الجمع لكل من النبيين عليهما الصلاة والسلام بين الرسالة والعبودية. It is the fact that all of the prophets عليهما الصلاة والسلام, or all of the messengers, have these two qualities combined for them, of Risala and Ubudiyya. They are all slaves of Allah wa Ta'ala and are all his messengers. وهذا أمر مشترك بين الجميع المرسلين عليهم الصلاة والسلام. And this is something which is a quality or two qualities that are shared between all of the messengers عليهم الصلاة والسلام. فكل منهم عبد الله ورسوله لكن ما سر هنا. All of them, Shaykh Ubaid says, are slaves of Allah wa Ta'ala and messengers of Allah. However, what is the subtlety that is mentioned here? The subtlety is that it contains within it الرد على أهل الإفراط والتفريط. It contains within it a refutation against the people who go too far as it relates to the prophets and messengers, and likewise those who are negligent as it relates to their rights and don't observe their rights in a sufficient manner. So these are the two categories. Ahl Sunnah, we are right there in the middle. You have the two extremes, going too far in affirming rights of the prophets and messengers, and you have the other extreme of not going far enough and doing too little in affirmation of their rights and their virtues. Ahl Sunnah, we're in the middle. We observe their rights without going too far. You observe their rights without going too far. He's going to explain this. He says, وَإِنْ شِئْتَ فَقُولْ عَلَى أَهْلِ الْغُلُوِّ وَالْجَفَاءِ. And if you wish, you can say it is a refutation against the people of al-ghulu and the people of al-jafa. The people of ghulu, of extremism, and the people of jafa, or an over amount of lackadaisicalness in relation to their rights. فمحمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وقعت أمته فيه بين الغلو والجفاء. And so the ummah of Muhammad alayhi salam fell into this. You find some people amongst the ummah of Muhammad alayhi salam falling into ghulu in regards to the rights of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and you find some people being negligent as it relates to his rights. He says, نعم في الغلو في من رفعه من مرتبة الرسالة والعبودية إلى مرتبة الألوهية. So the extremism, the going too far, lies within those individuals who elevate him beyond the level of messengership and servitude to Allah Ta'ala, and they raise him and elevate him to the level of uluhiyya and divinity, attributing things to him that can only be attributed to Allah Ta'ala. So what do we say about those who attribute things to less than Muhammad alayhi salatu that can only be attributed to Allah Ta'ala? Like we find with Ar-Rafida, giving their imams some aspects of divinity and lordship. Now, we know that Shaykh Ubaid mentioned that the people, in terms of their virtue, have a tartib, right? The best people outright, the best human beings outright are the prophets, okay? And the best of the prophets are those prophets that are also messengers. And the best of the messengers are those messengers of strong will, the five that we know. Musa alayhi salam, Isa alayhi salam, Nuh alayhi salam, Muhammad alayhi salam, and likewise Ibrahim. These are the best. These are the best outright. Now, but after the category of prophets, who are the best after them? The Siddiqeen. The Siddiqeen. They are the best after the prophets. And the best of them is Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anhu. After the Siddiqun, in virtue, comes the awliya of Allah ta'ala. And the awliya of Allah Azza wa Jal, they are al-mu'min at-taqi. Every believer who has taqwa is a wali of Allah Ta'ala. It's not some special class or category other than that. The believer who has taqwa of Allah Ta'ala. But you find some of the groups of deviation from the extreme Sufis, likewise Ar-Rafida, they unite with them in this matter. They flip the order. They flip the order. And they say the best of the people are the awliya, first and foremost. And they attain a level that is not even reached by the prophets and messengers, nor the siddiqun. For this reason, you find this khabith, Ayatullah, who it's proper that we call him Ayatul Shaitan, but he refers to himself as Ayatullah Al-Khomeini, who said the statement in his book of Sharia that the Imam, he has a praiseworthy station and a lofty rank or position that is not reached by any angel that is near to Allah, nor any prophet that was sent as a messenger. Due to which the atoms in the universe yield and submit to the Imam. A'udhu billah. So look, they give the Imams some attributes of lordship, the control and manipulation of atoms within the universe and the creation. You find similar with the extreme Sufis. You find similar with the extreme Sufis. And so this is as it relates to those who are less than the prophets and messengers. With what we find from the extremism in relation to the prophet himself, now is the likes of what we're going to read shortly. He says that, and so you have those who elevate him beyond this martaba, this level of Risala and Ubudiyah, of messengership and servitude to Allah Ta'ala, raising him and elevating him to the level of Uluhiyah, كما يصنع أهل خرافة من الخبوريين, as is done by the people of superstitious beliefs from the grave worshippers and the Ghulat al-Sufiyya and the extreme Sufis. ومن ذلك قول البوصيري في بردته, and from the examples of that is the statement of Al-Busayri. The statement of Al-Busayri, this extreme deviant Sufi, who says in his qasida known as Al-Burda, and his poem that he has known as Al-Burda, which contains all types of shirkiyat, all types of statements of polytheism in relation to our beloved Prophet alayhi. He said within it, amongst that which he said within it, and this is one example of what he said in his poem from Kufr and Shirk and Ilhad. But he said concerning the Prophet alayhi, فَإِنَّ مِن جُودِكَ الدُّنْيَا وَضَرَّتَهَا وَمِن عُلُومِكَ عِلْمَ اللَّوْهِ وَالْقَلَمِ. أعوذ بالله. He says, and indeed, from your jud and your generosity and your kindness, things which you distribute in a kind and generous manner, speaking about who? Not Allah Ta'ala, speaking about the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. From your jud, your things that you deal with in a generous manner and you control and you distribute as you please, is the dunya, this worldly life. وَضَرَّتَهَا, and it's similar, and that which is similar to it. Meaning that the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salam, according to him, Busayri, he deals with and distributes the dunya and whatever is similar to the dunya in the manner that he wills. وَمِنْ عُلُومِكَ, and from your knowledge, from a part of your knowledge, is ilm al-lawhi wal-qalami, is knowledge of the preserved tablet and the pen. A'udhu billah. So look, things which are specific to Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, Al-Busayri, he gives it to who? The Messenger of Allah Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So in this narration lies a refutation against Al-Busayri and those who are like him, who hold to extremism in relation to the Prophet Muhammad Alaihi Wasallam or other than him from the prophets and messengers. For dunya wal akhirah ba'du judihi, and this is an observation that he said that the dunya and the hereafter is a part of his generosity and that which he deals with in a kind manner. Only a part of it. So that means that, and his jod is actually greater than that. That which he has control over and distributes is greater than that. Now, وَاللَّوْحُ وَالْقَلَمْ بَعْضُ عُلُومِهِ, whereas the preserved tablet and the pen are only a part of that which he has all-inclusive and encompassing knowledge of. And again, we're speaking about who? The Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, not Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. So we see it becomes clear to you the clear-cut disbelief and deviation of one who holds this type of belief system in relation to our beloved Prophet alayhi wasallam. It's ghulu, it's extremism. It's going too far. Now, he says, فَهَذَا إِذَنْ رَفَعَ مُحَمَّدًا صلى الله عليه وسلم إلى مرتبة الألوهية. So this individual, therefore, has elevated Muhammad alayhi wasallam to the level of uluhiyya. وَأَهْلُ الْجَفَاء. Then you have the other extreme. There are those who ضَيَّعُوا مَا ضَيَّعُوا مِنْ سُنَّتِهِ. Those who squander and throw away whatever they squander and throw away from his sunnah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And this is the people of innovation, without doubt. The people of innovation, without doubt. As the Salaf would say, every time an innovation is practiced, something from the sunnah dies as a result of that. Now, and the person who practices innovation, and cause to that, says, بِلِسَانِ حَالِهِ, he says with his condition, with what he's doing of bid'ah and innovation, then he is saying that Allah Ta'ala has lied when he said, Al-Yawma akmaltu lakum dinakum. This day I perfected your religion for you. This person is saying, no, the religion is not perfect. Rather, it is in need of my innovation. It needs me to add this to it or take that away from it. Then it's going to be okay. this person of innovation is saying that Allah Ta'ala has lied. So you have those individuals who they are too lackadaisical as it relates to that, and they lose and squander whatever they lose and squander from the sunnah of the Messenger of Allah Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. Ibn Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he said what? That I don't believe there's anyone on the face of the earth that Shaitan wants to see dead more than me. When he was asked about that, he said, because Shaitan invents an innovation in the eastern parts of the earth or its western parts. And a man carries that innovation to me. But I counter that innovation with what? The sunnah. And it returns back to him just as he sent it. Bid'ah, innovation, is the opposite of sunnah. So when a person leaves off and squanders the sunnah and abandons it and tosses it behind his back, then they are from Ahlul Jafa in this regard, from those who are too lackadaisical as it relates to the right to the Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam. فَمِن مُسْتَقِلٍ وَمُسْتَقْدِرٍ. You have those who do a small amount of that or a large amount of that. The Jafa of this person is going to be dependent upon how much innovation they are upon. فَمِنْهُمْ الَّذِينَ ادَّعُوا النُّبُوَّةَ بَعْدَهُ. Amongst them there are those who claimed prophethood after him. نعم كفر بلا شك. ومنهم من أنكروا نبوته. And from them there were those who rejected his prophethood. ومنهم. And from them there are those who did less than that and less than that. All of this is a trampling over the rights of the Messenger Muhammad alayhi wasallam. وَأَمَّا فِي شَأْنِ عِيسَى, as it relates to Isa alayhi salam, فَالْيَهُودُ فَرَّطُوا فِيهِ. Then the Jews, they were negligent as it relates to the rights of Isa. وَأَضَاعُوهُ. And they squandered his rights alayhi wasallam. وَطَعَنُوا فِي أُمِّهِ. And they reviled his mother, and they accused her of that which they accused her of, from fuhsh and lewdness and fornication. And they accused Isa alayhi salam as being a child of zina. And you find the people of today going even further than that. You find the people of today in this day and time going even further than that, to the point that one of them here recently made a statement that Isa alayhi salam was quite possibly a transgender. That he was quite possibly a transgender based upon an examination of some of his wounds, which we know is a lie because he was never crucified anyway. How they lie upon the prophets and messengers, specifically Isa. But they say an examination of his wounds leads to the belief that he was quite possibly a transgender. And so this, no doubt, is from At-Ta'an fi Isa ibn Maryam. It is revilement of Isa ibn Maryam. And we as Muslims, we are offended not just by someone portraying our Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam in a negative light, but rather any of the Prophet's messengers whose prophethood and messengership is affirmed. Then we are equally as offended when the people disrespect that prophet as well. Because Isa alayhi salam is our prophet. He's not their prophet in reality. He's our prophet. He's the prophet of Islam. And so it offends us to hear them speaking about him in such a manner. And so he says these types of statements which they say concerning Isa, that he was a child of zina, that they accuse his mother of lewdness. May Allah Ta'ala fight them. He says all of this is as it relates to the khusus, the khasa'is of Isa ibn Maryam. Naam, and the fire is the abode wa bi'sa al-masir, and what an evil dwelling place this will be. This is Jafa and At-Tawhīd. أما النصارى, as for the Christians, فغلوا وأفرطوا فرفعوه إلى مرتبة الألوهية. As for the Christians, then they have gone to extremes as it relates to him. They have gone too far and elevated Isa to the level of divinity. At times they say that he is the third of three, part of a trinity or a godhead. And at other times they say Allahu al-Masih, that Allah himself is none other than Isa ibn Maryam. And at other times they say that al-Masih ibn Allah, that Isa is the son of Allah. And other than that, from the statements which they make that are all indicative of their ghulu and extremism in relation to him. The third thing that this narration contains within it, shahada bi anna al-jannah haq. It's the testimony that paradise is haq. It is real. The paradise, it is real. It is not a metaphor. It is not a state of mind, as some of the people of deviation say, that you can have paradise right here on earth. It is a state of mind, a state of being, and the likes of this. Rather, Jannah is haq. It is not a metaphor. It is real. It is true. It is makhluqa, and what is intended that is that it is created or mawjuda al-an. It is now in existence. It exists right now. This is our belief system. It's our belief system. وَأَنَّ فِيهَا مَا لَا عَيْنٌ رَأَتْ, and it contains inside of it that which no eye has seen. وَلَا أُذُنٌ سَمِعَتْ, nor any ear has heard. وَلَا خَطَرَ بِقَلْبِ بَشَرٍ, nor has it ever occurred or been imagined by the heart of a human being. أَعَدَّهَا اللَّهُ لِأَوْلِيَائِهِ. Allah Ta'ala has created and prepared paradise for His awliya. جعلنا الله وإياكم منهم. May Allah Ta'ala make us and you to be amongst them. رابعا, fourthly, and the nara haq, is that the hellfire likewise is haq. It is real. It is not a state of being and not a state of mind, nor is it a figment of someone's imagination, nor is it a metaphor. Rather, it is haq. It is real, and Allah Ta'ala has prepared it for His enemies. والأدلة على هذا واضحة من الكتاب الكريم. من الكتاب الكريم. He says, and the evidences for this are clear from the noble book of Allah تبارك وتعالى. فإنه من وما من قارئ يقرأ القرآن على عن تدبر إلا ويعلم أدلة وجود الجنة والنار. He says, and there is no one who reads the Quran contemplating and reflecting upon what is inside of it, except that he will know the evidence for the existence of paradise and the hellfire. And from the evidences for that is the statement of Allah Ta'ala concerning Jannah, أُعِدَّتْ لِلْمُتَّقِينَ, that it has been prepared. You find the passive verb coming in the past tense. The passive verb coming in the past tense, indicating that it is something that has already happened, already occurred. Nam u'iddat lil-muttaqin, it has been prepared already for the pious. وقوله في النار, the second son of the hellfire, u'iddat lil-kafirin, it has been prepared. It has already been prepared for the disbelievers. ومن السنة قوله صلى الله عليه وسلم, and from the sunnah, from the evidences in the sunnah as it relates to this, is the statement of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, tahajat al-jannatu wal-nar, that Jannah and the hellfire argued. Jannah and the hellfire argued. Now, فقالت النار, and the hellfire, it said, أُوثِرْتُ بِالْمُتَكَبِّرِينَ وَالْمُتَجَبِّرِينَ, that I have been prepared for the mutakabbirin, the arrogant, and the haughty. وقالت الجنة, and paradise said, ما لي لا يدخلني إلا ضعفاء الناس وسقطهم, that no one will enter into me except the weak amongst the people and those who the people deem to be insignificant. So Allah Ta'ala, He said to paradise, Anti rahmati arhamu biki man asha'u min ibadi, that you are my mercy. I have mercy by way of you upon those whom I will from my servants. وقال للنار, and Allah Ta'ala said to the hellfire, Anti عذابي أعذب biki man asha'u min ibadi, you are my punishment. I punish by way of you those whom I will amongst my servants. And each of them will have their full. Each of them will have their full. والأحاديث في هذا متواترة تواترا معنوية, and the ahadith that have come regarding this issue, they are mutawatira with a tawatur that is ma'nawi, a figurative type of tawatur, even though some of them they may be from the ahad narration and the likes. They there are so many of them that it is a figurative type of tawatur. Yujib al-ilm al-yaqini, and it brings about certain knowledge that we must act upon and we must believe in. And this is an asl from the usul of our religion. We'll stop here, inshallah ta'ala, and we'll pick up in the next sitting from the next narration. And Allah ta'ala knows best. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Okay, we have a question. When a person commits a sin, he makes a resolve not to post benefits on social media or advise people because he has not worked with what he advises. Is he right, or better yet, is it okay to leave social media for some time? Without doubt, it is okay to leave social media for some time if you find it to be a fitna for you. If you find that that you are wasting and squandering valuable time by all your being upon social media, then there's no doubt, okay for a person to leave off social media in this state or this condition or situation. As it relates to a person not acting upon that which he or she may post a benefit, or that which he or she may propagate from what is proper, then we say this should not be a reason for you not to advise. We say, for example, if a person has a child, right? You have a child, and if the father of that child may smoke cigarettes, and as a result, the child sees the father smoking cigarettes and says, "You know what, Dad, I would like to start smoking cigarettes." Is the father going to say, "Well, I smoke cigarettes, so I can't say anything to my child"? No. There's an obligation here for the parent to enjoin the good and prohibit the evil, even though he or she may not necessarily act upon it in every instance. So we say, don't withhold from enjoining the good and prohibiting the evil, even if you yourself may fall into something from the evil from time to time, or may be negligent regarding the good from time to time. Rather, continue to enjoy the good and prohibit the evil, but because you're going to be rewarded, inshallah ta'ala, in proportion to that, while striving and struggling against your own soul to leave off the evil and to not be negligent as it relates to enjoying enjoying the good upon yourself. But strive to ensure that your actions match up with your words. And some of the Salaf, they would be like this, and they would measure their words along with their actions. As Hassan al-Basri, I believe it was, who said that every time I examine my speech in light of my actions, I find my actions to be lacking. Now, and so this does not mean that we're just going to consign to a life of sin and disobedience while while enjoining upon others to be good, while we leave off the good ourselves. But it's a struggle. It's a struggle that we are perpetually faced with, fighting against our soul in relation to sins. But shaitan would love to defeat you, because if the shaitan does not get you one way, he's going to come at you another way. So he would love to defeat you by way of making you leave off advice where you should be advising. Rather have that balance, and we say advise if advice is needed. Spread good as much as you can, or at the same time striving to leave off sins yourself, and striving to compel yourself upon the obedience of Allah Ta'ala, and never give up fighting that fight against your soul and striving to correct your affairs. Allah Ta'ala knows best. If that's the only question, that's the only one that I see. I believe that's it. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين، وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.